PYRESWAP show now, and I do apologize for that technical difficulty. Today's Training Tuesday, and I have some bullish stuff happening, but I'm not ready to leak it yet. But I will tell you this, since Trigger Happy is here, and I'm just excited to see Trigger Happy, I'm trying to get a UFC fighter to be our next Twitter ambassador. And it's a non-zero chance of it happening. It's a non-zero chance. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I know that like you guys might, I don't know. And I'm gonna explain why sometimes good things are happening for the project, but you guys don't see them happening. And I'm gonna do it all on the board as part of Training Tuesday, to be clear. There is zero reason to be bearish. Zero reason to be bearish. Holy shit. Okay, when you're thinking about this project and you're just thinking about Discord and you just kind of like do the minimum amount of things when you think about the project and you're just looking at the same chart on Deck Screener and you're looking at the same dashboard and you just go back and you go forth and you just check all these things. This is effectively the box. This is your box. Does that make sense? This is the box you're thinking of and you're just looking at these 6 objects. Does that make sense? Maybe these 6 objects are the share tokens. Maybe they're the Circus wallets. Maybe they're your portfolio. Maybe they're what the fuck ever. Does that make sense? You're looking at the fucking box. Nothing about what's in the box here, inside the box, is a solution to the problem. The solution is outside the box. Do you see these red circles? So like what I'm working on is not what you're looking at. Like ever. And I don't mean this like I'm trying to insult or besmirch or diminish anybody the way people think. But like if I thought like everybody else did, this wouldn't be possible. Because the idea of terminal utility was entirely about thinking outside the box. Like when people, like devs that were coming to me in 2022 and it's like, what if we do this with our farms and then we snake the farms through the boardroom and then wrap it back around? Like, no, you're just entangling stuff inside the box. You're not thinking about like you're missing an ingredient. Go find the ingredient outside the village and then fucking add it. So while you're thinking about like, okay, can we make one of these blue things shifted with another? All I'm trying to do is increase the size of the box and put more things in the box. So if you're looking inside this box, I want you to understand the reason you think that like I'm not thinking about what you're thinking about is because I'm out here, I'm out in the woods hunting, and you're kind of just like, I don't know. Does that make sense? You're literally entrapping yourself into thinking pessimistically. Like you're not thinking about like what's the actual solutions. Like I want you to understand right now, if we repegged all 9 tomb forks right now, the project would still be a failure because we didn't grow the user base. Yeah, you would all just pump and then it would dump. Yeah, the user base is not big enough. You would pump and then it would dump. And maybe like you could exit, but like again, I want you to understand that my goals is not just to like give you what you want, but to give you what you need. In the news right now, there is these articles about whether or not Jerome Powell will get fired by Trump. Have you guys heard this? It's a nothing burger, but it's all over the news. Have you guys heard this? Jerome Powell, would you resign if Donald Trump made you? And is like, he can't legally make me resign. Has anyone heard of what I'm talking about? It's been all over the news for the last 3 days. It's a nothing burger, but it's been all over the news. Okay, Cynical, do you want to know why the Fed chair can't be fired by the president? Because the banker sometimes needs to make unpopular decisions to do what's best for the whole economy. So there's a country called Turkey. Have you guys ever heard of Turkey? Used to be spelled T-U-R-K-E-Y. Now it's spelled T-U-R-K-I-Y-E. Have you guys heard of Turkey before? Have you heard of it? Guys, yep. So Erdogan forced his bank to be dovish when the Fed was hawkish. And do you guys know what happened? Do you guys know what happened? Yes, exactly, Fexer. Yes, Cynical, yep. Welcome to 2024. Yep. It's like the Mandela effect. Yeah, but they actually did change it to kind of like differentiate it from the bird as Dr. Mack is showing you. Okay. Do you guys know why the fucking Turkey hyperinflation is so bad? Do you guys know why Turkey inflation for the last 4 years is like a 3-digit number? Do you guys know why? Because the president has the power to fucking fight to control the Fed chair. So what did the president do? The president did what he thought would be popular because he's all about protecting his approval rating. Does that make sense to you guys? Jerome Powell, legitimately, he was appointed by Trump, then he served under Biden, now he's serving back under Trump, right? But the fact of the matter is, first of all, Jay Powell is a Republican, but it's not really his fucking job. His job is to literally be as objective as possible about what to do, whether it's hiking rates or cutting rates in order to protect the instrument. So he doesn't, if the Fed chair was like under the sway of party politics, this country would be so fucked right now. Be so fucked. Does that make sense? Like, I believe in ending the Fed. I believe in ending the Fed. But Jerome Powell does his job well. I want you to understand that I probably agree with 80% of the shots he called over the last 6 years. Does that make sense? So I know that you might think right now as the user, shouldn't we dump all the 2 ohm for PyroPhantom? I know you might think I'm the president of PYRESWAP, but I'm really the fucking chair. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Alessio, I want you to understand something. If you want the prices to go up, we're going to increase it by making the demand go up from increasing the amount of people who want the token. That's it. That's the only solution. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's like, it just requires a component that you can't see me working on. Listen, I wish that there was 5 Pyre producers and they could follow me around with cameras all day long, like fucking Ty Lopez or somebody, right? And you could see me on these calls where I'm like, hey, does undisclosed UFC fighter, right? Does he care about the Federal Reserve? It's a hot topic right now. Elon Musk is tweeting about it. I know that he might want to do something else than fucking MMA his whole life. Does that make sense? And it just happens to be that this guy is in the basket of my fucking network. I want you to understand as well, we haven't even started going through this gold mine of YouTubers yet. The Senorage Circus has one of the strongest YouTuber email lists in all of Web3. We spent fucking 3 months on this shit. We haven't even fucking gotten that out of the garage. So, like, to be clear, I know that watching Bitcoin hit 90K and the fact that your dopamine isn't rising in parallel with it, that might make you feel cortisol. Stop feeling FOMO. Yeah, like, you did not fucking stay in this project this long to get disappointed. And neither did I. I am going to win the fucking Nobel Prize for Econ. And it's going to start with the theoretics developed out of making PyreSwap succeed. PyreSwap is an endogenous money system. It is probably one of the best endogenous money systems ever made. I'm going to fucking write some vocab words here. People talk about ending the Fed right now. But if the Fed got ended and there was not an endogenous money system in place, let me write these words up here. Exogenous. And this is a central bank. Endogenous. And this is endogenous and exogenous money. You can think of a decentralized bank. Everybody wanted to end the Fed, but the thing is, this would not be the first time in the United States where the central bank was ended by the president. Andrew Jackson also did not renew the charter of the SB USA, the second bank, in 1836. And because all he did was basically rug pull the central bank, he caused a shit ton of problems for the entire fucking North American continent. Does that make sense? So I want you guys to understand that there are systems that can be better banking and better money systems than what we have so far. And believe it or not, PyreSwap gets to be the fucking theoretics for that. And it's only a matter of time before the whole world understands the importance of this project. It makes perfect sense that you guys might feel that we're hitting these walls of negativity now in November, where all of these other projects, like Bitcoin even, they're hitting all-time high. Dogecoin, right? All-time high. Solana flipped BNB, at least temporarily, right? And I want you to understand that, like, we're still moving a whole lot faster than fucking Bitcoin was, to be clear. Yeah, like I want you to understand that. Yeah, and we don't require nearly as much to make people understand like what we're really playing for here. And I understand that you're investors. I'm not numb to your pain or irritation. I'm not deaf to your complaints. I'm not blind to your impatience. In fact, I'm grateful and appreciative and in admiration of the fact that you guys have this level of fucking tenacity. But like the solution, just like terminal utility, was outside the box. It had to be something added on. It had to be something external that would be added in. Doing like literally just like sloshing stuff around the bathtub, that is effectively nothing. It's not, yeah, we could fucking just make more price chart acrobatics. We can just build that naturally. Yeah, I would very much like the majority of our price chart to be actual human activity. And we have the ability to do that. Yeah, we're right here on the precipice. You guys will see that soon. I'll be something clear. I also paid the fucking penetration tester today out of the 8372 wallet. So if you guys are wondering, what about this Pyre Phantom and what about this Pyre AVAX? The penetration tester, by the way, the penetration tester for PYRESWAP is also a penetration tester for some really high profile people. One of those might be a UFC champion. Make sense? Does that make sense? Anyways, shuffling money inside and out. I'm not trying to fucking put more styrofoam into the project. I'm trying to bring out the authenticity of the project. Does that make sense? Like, I know maybe you don't see a difference, but like, it makes a world of difference. Because like, we could pump and dump this project and then all we would do is we would have less upside after that. It makes more sense to legitimately open up the gate to where we actually have eyeballs. By the way, we have in fact done a little bit of short form testing in the last 24 hours. We got 2,000 new impressions. The piece of content we made was very experimental. I had very low expectations for it. But now we have data. Now all I'm gonna do is fucking start cranking up the fucking factory. Does that make sense? All I'm gonna do is start cranking up the factory. I have multiple people helping with this. It's way easier to coordinate than any of the Reddit strategies. Yeah. We're going to make it. Yeah, we're going to make it. I don't know if you can tell from my tone. Yeah. Do I seem bearish? Yeah, like, do I come up here and I'm like, I don't know, guys. Like, my mentor has a very important quote, and I think he's quoting somebody else. But he likes to repeat it a lot, and it goes like this. Sight is the enemy of vision. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, you have to be future oriented in Web3. Oh, great question. To be honest, I will answer that in the slowest form. That had nothing to do with this project. Yeah, like he wasn't even invested, and which is what I learned recently. So like, he wasn't holding the token. So if you're not aware, inside the Senor Circus, like if you're inside the thing, we all make money the same way. Like, I'm not anybody's employer. Does that make sense? Like, nobody inside the Senor Circus is my employee, right? So the reason why we do it this way is because had we done a mercenary approach to this project, we would not have lasted over 2 years. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, we would not have lasted over 2 years because we have to have that principle guiding us all the way. The stuff that Joker was talking about, a lot of it had nothing to do with the Senor Circus. He was talking about 3/4 of it had nothing to do with it at all. And the stuff that he was accusing me of is also like patently false. He also said the tokenomics of this project doesn't work. And I'm like, I wish you could have proven any type of math because we literally had a guy who proved the fucking mathematics of the project in a fucking PDF. So I'll tell you this, as far as like when you're supposed to make a breakthrough, Cynical, my mentor has always told me you're going to get hit with all these wild cards of negativity. Because the universe is going to test you to see if you really want it, to see if you'll get distracted by all of these small people or these small things like rising up. Yeah, I'll tell you this, Cynical. He is in a bad spot himself, and I think he believed that he was being a bigger help than he was. Yeah. No, not at all, Sonic. Hell no. Hell no. Yeah. Hell no. Not at all. Sonic, if I learned that he didn't have any fucking tokens in the project, I wouldn't be asking him for shit. Yeah, I'm like, why are you even here? Like, if people didn't have some sort of skin in this game, like, it would be hard to pay attention to. So, like, then he was explaining that, like, I was trying to get him to invest, and, like, if I had learned that he wasn't invested, like, months ago, I wouldn't be talking to him at all. Like, I don't have time to talk to people who aren't invested. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, legitimately, like, every person I talk to, I would imagine they're in the trenches with me. Does that make sense? So, like, it was miscommunication in the sense that this was a guy who knew about this project since the end of 2022, but somehow wasn't positioned. So then, like, he himself doesn't feel, if he doesn't feel like he's going to gain anything, then of course he's going to feel like he's getting that way. And I'm like, what the, it was more so that, like, I was blindsided by the fact that he was so out of sync with everything else. Yeah. But the good news is that, yeah, I can now focus on the people that are. Yeah, like, that blows my mind. Yeah, some of the stuff that he was talking about are just completely, I would say false accusations. I can prove a lot of them are false accusations too. And to be honest, over the last 5 days, he got more and more negative. So, like, he would just, like, on Saturday, he said some, like, negative. I didn't talk to him for days, and then he just said something negative shit to me. And I'm like, okay. And then, like, on Monday, he's, like, writing this negative stuff. And legitimately, he's just a guy who's just lashing out the same way that stray dogs do when they get... I don't want to besmirch anybody. Like, I wish the best for him. But to be honest, the project will not suffer at all because he was contributing nearly nothing, to be clear. If you guys want to talk about compensation... Part of the benefit of this being a volunteer organization is that you can't get fired for being incompetent. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like, Cynical, yeah, by the way, and I support it getting deleted because, like, it's absolute gibberish. It's absolute gibberish, yeah. So do you know what the thing we were leaning on him most with, Cynical, is this show, the PYRESWAP show, it's supposed to get posted to our subreddit every time. So every day on the subreddit, it's supposed to get posted. So then it went 15 days and it didn't happen. So, like, if this was, like, your only job to make the show get reposted to subreddit, like, I would have fired you right now. Does that make sense? If you were a hired help, right? Like, if you're hired help and then you drop the ball for 15 days in a row, you're fucking fired, right? But if he's a volunteer, I can't complain, right? Because in my mind, he's invested in parallel with me. Yeah. Zonic invested in parallel with me. Dr. Mac invested in parallel with me. Does that make sense? Like, legitimately, like, on the same team, we will win in the same direction. As soon as I have a mercenary, they are not in the same direction. Yeah, so, believe it or not, this is a great price right now for paying mercenaries. Do you know why? Because they now want to hold the token and not sell it, right? So, all of our Twitter ambassadors, right, we pay them now. I paid the fucking penetration tester earlier because I got to talk to the pen tester for 3 hours and explain to him what the product is with a whole new level of marketing behind him, and he's now much more interested in what it was when he was just pen testing it like a website. So, like, the fact that he wasn't holding tokens in the first place, that was already like a yellow flag. I just wasn't aware of this because I assume that most people who are DMing me, because, by the way, in my DMs, I have like 25 DMs right now. I assume that most of the people talking to me, like they're on my team, are also holding most of the same tokens. Does that make sense? So if you talk to me like that, and then I find that you're not holding the tokens, it's like, what is the point of this? Yeah, like, are you not on the mission with me? So, like, no wonder you're not aligned. And the stuff about the principal-agent relationship agreement, that has to do with a company called Assiduity, which a few people know about, and it's literally a software development shop, but it's not in Web3. It's mostly for, like, web development and mobile apps. Does that make sense? And I was trying to help him make money with Assiduity, but the fact of the matter is that, yeah, he didn't really deliver there either. He referred a guy to us who ended up scamming us for a small amount of money. And Yeah, like if I was treating a lot of people in the circus as hired help, a lot of them would be fucking fired. I'm just being honest. Yeah, like my standard for results is high. So like if people are volunteers, I can't fucking fire them. You get what I'm saying? It allows me to be less of a tyrant. Does that make sense? Yeah, and it also allows me to, spend less time doing hiring and firing. I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but like legitimately, like the project will suffer zero. Yeah, the project will suffer zero. And he didn't even hold tokens, which is like, it was, when I learned that literally reading the thing. I'm like, you're not holding tokens right now? Like, what the fuck? Why was I even answering your DMs? Does that make sense? Like, yeah, if you're not holding fucking tokens, like, why would I, do you get what I'm saying? Like, why? Yeah, you're not even invested in what I'm doing. Yeah, you're not even like on the ride with me. So he did not, the most valuable things he did was he gave us recommendations for computer parts when we were building parts for the production computer. By the way, production computer, the one that does this show, came from the liquidity borrowing. Does that make sense? But that was literally it. That was like the majority of the help. Everything else was, yeah, Rolf, they all did pre-Genesis. So we did in fact have like 40 people playing at once. But the fact of the matter is that it's also okay if they don't, because I'm gonna draw a parallel to the Phantom Opera. Phantom Opera right now, it only has like between 40 to 80 validators. So what that means is there's by the way, Goat is like 4 of them too. So like, yeah, Goat, yeah. Well, yeah, Zonic, and the thing is, like, that was meant to be a project in our later pipeline. I never expected that we'd be working on PYRESWAP this long either. But again, I can only be an optimist about this and assume that what we will win because of this. He is. Yeah, not me. I have some M share in the 8372 wallet, but I'll probably send it back to him. Yeah, I'm not trying to hold that token anymore. Yeah, so I'll probably send it back. I feel I am not thrilled with the fact that I have to tell people who are buying that in preparation for Dominion that fucking project is not going to be a Dominion project. Yeah, like that's fucking. I feel miserable about that. I hate the idea that I have to that happens. Like for real. But anyways, Phantom Opera has 40 to 80 validators, meaning there are people that are running nodes that validate the blocks. PYRESWAP, meaning so if there's 1 million people in the Phantom Opera that are trading the token, they are being balanced and supported by only a few dozen people that are actually validating blocks. Playing the IWV is the version of validation for the GPSC. Playing the IWV is like the version of validation. So the amount of people playing the IWV will be proportional always to the amount of value inside it. So as we increase the amount of value, again, through marketing, like I really insist now, I know that I've made a complete 180 here, but like through the actual user base growth and making the user base grow at a rapid pace, right? We want the user base to grow at a rapid pace so we gain interest and keep interest at a faster rate than when we lose interest. Make sense, everybody? PYRESWAP in the GPSC is supported by the IWV players. So if you only have like 7 or 8 people playing the IWV on Pyre Phantom, 7 or 8 people is plenty for where we are today, if that makes sense. 7 or 8 people is still plenty for where we are today, because that group will also grow in proportion to the rest of the user base. What I mean to say is this is a minority. It's only a few dozen people. The IWV players, it's always meant to be that way. It doesn't, the amount of people burning Ethereum is always going to be, yeah, well, Rolf, in my mind, I thought that having 5 Discords was enough, right? We acquired 5 Discords, through the end of 2022. So I'm like, hey guys, we did all the marketing up front because we can just make announcements. During 2022, you could do, I have personally moved 8 figures of TVL from Discord announcements in 2022. But the meta shifted, people stopped using Discord as much, and then I basically got rugged. Yeah, I got rugged out of my marketing assets. So I had to go, we have to fucking go find new ones. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. I understand what it takes. You know what? Cynical, it's like, again, it might shift back to Discord. We are, in fact, all about bringing GPSC into making it a Discord powerhouse. I love Discord. Discord's a fucking great app. Yeah, I fucking love it. Discord stresses me out, and I still fucking love it. So we're all about being a Discord project for the foreseeable future, right? And so we're gonna make Discord great again. But I'm serious. Jokes aside, I'm fucking serious. But yeah. Again, everything about making the IWV user base. Certain people, they either don't have the time to do it, they don't understand it, they can only play on mobile, and playing on mobile isn't as maybe good as desktop. So I already knew that the IWV as a game itself, it wouldn't necessarily appeal to every single person in the project, but that's okay, because not every person is going to do Metatrage either, right? Not every person is going to do liquidity or Genesis, things like that. Like, so, yeah, again, the whole solution now is about getting enough awareness and promotion happening consistently all the time, where we end up catalyzing that stampede of eyeballs that ends up making all the things you want on the price chart happen, which will make all the volume things happen, which will make all the TVL things happen. And of course, once we get to that, once we really prove the concept, we're never going to have user-based problems again. Does that make sense? Because legitimately, it will be it'll be the fucking talk of the town, at least for its own moment, and then it'll arguably be self-sustainable. Yeah, once we really get above the 0.8 TWAP bands across the board, I know that everybody has their own favorite tune fork, but like, the size of this bet is that, like, not just that I could make this work on dibs real quick and then we could extend it to AVAX and Phantom, rather that I want to do it all at the same time. Obviously, I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder by doing it on 3 chains at the same time, and that has definitely made the job a little bit more difficult. Having a higher swap fee that's kind of baked in also makes it more difficult. But I could either complain about these obstacles or just fucking bulldoze through them. Yeah, like, it's not the end of the world. It was probably way harder to market crazier things. I have somebody knocking on my door, but yeah, to be honest, I don't think we'll be able to get it. Yeah, actually, hang on. I'll take a quick 2-minute break. Can we do that? Yeah, 2-minute break. I'll mute the mic real quick. Okay, to hold those peg tokens even if they're borrowing money. Okay, Alessio. So I'll explain the point. Because of the whole pragmatism of doing this in the first place, if we can make 2 ohm 10x, it makes more sense that I can in fact repay that debt with then interest. Because if I'm going to say stuff like, hey, we've invented the world's first decentralized credit union, this implies that we must know what we're talking about when it comes to fucking banking, right? And if we're trying to make the Señorita Circus like the premier banking DApp building organization across Web3, clearly we kind of need to hold ourselves to that standard as well. I know that all of it hinges on the same target getting hit, but that makes the job easier. I only have to hit one fucking target, and the rest of it, all the problems get taken care of at the same time. So the fact that we withdrew liquidity, that's the main reason that 2Share crashed as hard as it did. When I was in fact pulling that liquidity out, I was trying to make it so that upward price movement would help 2Ohm and 2Share more because the price impact would be higher. It just so happened somebody else, sold to YOLO into GOAT or whatever. I wish them a lot of luck. That's a hell of a gamble, but the good news is that all of that negative price impact will reverse in the green direction as well. So I'm holding those tokens not for my own personal gain, but rather because I owe money to these anonymous and absentee Tomb Fork investors that have, they literally staked in the farm contract back in 2022 and then abandoned their money. Some of them will never come back, but that doesn't mean I feel entitled to their capital, right? Like, if anything, as a banker, I can move their capital to a way that benefits them the most while I'm the custodian of it. But I would never be anything other than maximally transparent because I want to be clear that the Senorita Circus and PYRESWAP, right? We're the best not because we say we're the best, because you can look under the hood, you can fucking scrutinize us, and we still. Does that make sense? I don't want a fucking participation trophy. I want the real gold medal. Does that make sense? Oh, Rolf, great question. Because I did not feel good about it. Yeah. Believe it or not, borrowing 100 wouldn't necessarily make, like, I wanted to borrow, like, the minimal amount needed. Yeah. Well, Alessio, not if, okay, Alessio, then I have to sell the Pyre Phantom back for too long. Does that make sense? And then it's like, I'm really just moving money from one token to the other token in the GPSC. I would rather just solve the problem authentically than like worry. Yeah, like I want to like those two wallets that have the transplant liquidity. I try not to touch those wallets ever. Like those wallets are not the Senorita Circus house wallet. Does that make sense? So we have the redemption liquidity on one wallet, and then we have the spooky liquidity on another wallet. Does that make sense? They're not mixed with each other. And I'm not trying to like go over and do those things. I want to make the amount of transactions on those wallets minimal so that later on I can just show this list of transactions and here's when I did this, here's when I got paid back, here's why you have now earned profit, here's why the fucking Tomb Forks are now at peg. Does that make sense? Yeah, and I know that maybe you're thinking like, maybe I should worry less about my reputation, but no, I think that I have to fucking always lead with that and make sure that, make sure that I pass the scrutiny of people. Yeah, like it's okay. Like again, right, you saw somebody yell at me about stuff that wasn't even related to this project. Like you end up with negativity happening no matter what, but like you have to just go through it and just keep your eye on the fucking goal, right? And again, the projects are fixed, they're just not pegged. And I know that that sounds like a lip service treatment. You might think that that's like forehead kisses, but like I would not have felt as exonerated had we only, and Rolf, you got to balance the principle against the pragmatism because I did not want to borrow this money in the first place. I didn't want to transplant it. And I just realized that this was taking way longer than I expected. Everything goes perfect in your head, you guys. Remember, everything goes perfect in your head. But like, again, you might have somebody cussing you out in the middle of general chat that you thought was your friend. You're going to have these weird things that happen. All you can do is decide that I'm going to prioritize the target that I've had since day one and just keep working towards that. A lot of things I could have been blindsided by. The fact that when we first started branding this project and talking about it being related to Tomb Forks, most people wanted nothing. They didn't want to hear about it at all. They heard Tomb Forks and they immediately assumed that I was just remixing a scam. And that's why we started shifting away from focusing on that and focus on just focus on this. Let the people who already know about the Tomb Forks worry about that. We can, when you're trying to earn trust for the first time, you have to earn trust on the thing that they feel the least negative about. So all of the GPSC stuff was new, the Witch Vault stuff, the Mead stuff, that was new. So it made more sense to earn people's trust here, and then if I could earn their trust over time, allow them to change the way they think about Tomb Forks. Because that was arguably, even the Tomb Forks we acquired, that was still also, dropping their names was not always making me a popular guy. Yeah. But again, the whole reason this project works, by the way, is because I take a principle over profit approach. So this is Web3, this is crypto. I want you guys to know something. The money will always go sideways in the future again. In the future, there will always be another bad money day. We could be at peg by Saturday, but then by 2025, we might have a 90% crash because somebody freaked the fuck out. Does that make sense? And the money will you'll always have winter. You'll always have some type of future adversity, future obstacle, future bad money day. And all of the projects that you see where everybody is on a team only to rub their hands and make money, as soon as that bad money day comes, they all just stab each other in the back. You've seen it a dozen times. You saw it with 2ohm. right? You saw it with 2 ohm and 3 ohm. Like, there's no more team anymore. They all hate each other. They all blame each other, right? Because all they care about was whether or not they themselves were making money. They couldn't put the needs of the user base above their own. Thankfully, I'm more motivated by glory and heroism than the actual money itself. But the good news for all of you guys is that me achieving those things is the thing that makes the money, right? But yeah, if you ever start making the profit motive higher than your adherence to principle, you're like a rudderless boat. You're gonna get tossed in the waves and you're gonna fucking get shipwrecked. So this project is over 2 years old. In fact, we were debuting it to the public December of 2022. So we're literally at our 2-year birthday in its debut. And yeah, the fact that we've been able to go this long is all because of this. This is why we've been able to last this long. And this is why we will continue to last, to be clear. We never lose sight of this. Okay. Yeah, Abolito, more players, but believe it or not, we're working with smaller market caps than you think. Yeah. Yeah, more players, just more players. But Abolito, I want you to understand, you might think it's a long road. Yeah, you might think it's a long road, but I want you to understand, think of it like this, right? When you add a new component to a system, you're adding a new dimension. So yeah, new dimensions new exponents. Does that make sense? Like this right here, we have a kilometer, right? 1 kilometer. But now here, right? Now you have 1 kilometer squared. Do you understand what I'm saying allegorically? So when you add new dimensions, when you build something in a direction that nobody's thinking about, you get an exponential rate of return. So when I talk about being outside the box, I'm talking about we need to have marketing systems for this project perpetually. I'm not just trying to get like 1 or 2 more YouTubers to take us to the moon. We need to be marketing this project all the time. Does that make sense? It takes longer to set that up. Marketing is fucking hard. Marketing is hard. But I'm not going to quit, and we're actually a lot closer to winning this than you realize. But yeah, okay, I can listen to some more ideas about how to deploy it, maybe in like a long-term thing. Yeah, so Abolito, I want you to understand, think of it this way. We might end up with just one, if a UFC fighter becomes our fucking ambassador, we might have 1,000 people joining this Discord a day for an entire month. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that is what I mean. Well, like, one new system becomes a one new dimension. Pega, he did previously have a belt. Yeah, he did previously have a belt. Yep. Yeah. One new system, one new dimension, that's an exponent. Does that make sense? What if he has 400,000 Twitter followers and they're not fake? Does that make sense? What if he's never been sponsored by a crypto project before? Yeah. You guys, I promise you I'm not on vacation over here. I promise you I work on this. I promise I work on this. If you can't, yeah, but that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, one, I'm not dropping a name because God forbid he says no and then you guys are all fucking sad. Like, I promise you I'm swinging big. I'm swinging big, okay? I'm not dropping any Okay, I know that everybody wants to see the ToonForks peg. I want to see this project in the top 100 market caps. I want to see this project in the top 30 market caps as an aggregate. Does that make sense? The good news is, on the way to the top 30 market caps, we'll hit peg dozens, if not hundreds of times. Does that make sense? Like, I want to solve all the marketing problems at the same time. I don't want a temporary solution. Does that make sense? We've only really had 2 problems. Do you guys know that? We had 2 problems in this project. We only had 2. And I want you to understand, do you guys know the 2 problems? The first one was RPC issues. RPC issues. In order to solve the RPC issues, I could have found a temporary solution. Yeah, and Genesis V1, those were the RPC issues. Yeah, 100%. The RPC issues, right? So do you know what we did? We literally have a fucking partnership with Pocket, which gives us arguably some of the best RPC service out of all dApps. The second one, user base. That's it. These are the only two problems. I want you to understand, when I solve these problems, I'm trying to solve it so I never have to hear about that shit again. Does that make sense? I don't want to solve the RPC issues and then have a meeting every 4 days where we talk about RPC issues and how to solve them. Does that make sense? So when I solve the user base problem, we're not going to have to talk about it ever again. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Because I want to continue to I want to launch Ribs Money and get to phase 2 and fuck, you know what I mean? I'm trying to do all these other things. If I have to fucking keep having a user base meeting every week, do you get what I'm saying? I'm going to solve it and then it's fucking solved. We're going to have user base growing all the time, right? Or at least promotion all the time. If that makes sense? Solve the problem permanently. It takes longer to do. The good news is Genesis V2 still has fucking a third of it left, and we're better than ever to actually solve it. Like, we've only made progress on this. I promise you. It's taking longer than expected, but so is everything else in this project. But believe it or not, we still hit those targets too. Yeah, like we hit those targets too. So, like everything that I talked about in like the fucking Revelation tour, like we did actually get to there, to be clear. So like I want you to understand, like we are going to get to where we keep aiming. It just happens to be that it hasn't been a DeFi season, it's been a meme coin season. So we've been an underdog, and I had to learn how to talk about this project because before I was just fire hosing economic gibberish at people and everyone was just like giving me blank stares. And I realized I just didn't know how to, people were sold on my passion and my authenticity, but like they were like, he seems like he's smart, but I have no fucking idea what's going on. And I made it too fucking complicated with token decay and stuff. What do you think a new user base will see about this product? Alessio, I would say probably the whole red candles can't kill it, the fucking sustainability, and the fact that it gets used every day. So people actually do care about that. Yeah. Yeah, like people see that and like, well, damn, you know, like even when it seems slow, you saw our fucking marketing funnel and how strong our retention is. Does that make sense? We can continue to do things like the leaderboards, which even though they seem kind of like pedestrian, they also show a different approach to solving problems, right? And I know the leaderboards are not like getting deployed anytime soon. But Alessio, I'll tell you that some people like the project just for the fantasy fiction. Some people are like, holy shit, it's fucking cool. It's got witches and knights. And they're like, wow, that's different. I like it. Like people have fucking absolutely liked the project for that. So everybody likes it for different things. Yeah. I know that we have those. Exactly, Pega. Yeah, like if we just keep going, we'll fucking hit it. Like we do get closer every day. I know that it might not seem that way when you see Bitcoin go to the moon and PYREBNB doesn't follow it or whatever, right? But like, we're gonna make it. Yeah, like people are gonna be looking for altcoins soon. Does that make sense? We're not a new project, right? Like we have this establishment. Of course, you guys, Alessio, right? They're gonna come here and they're gonna see this guy Alessio and they're like, wow, this guy is so bullish. He never complains and he only says the most positive, confident things. And they're gonna be like, just from this guy Alessio, I'm gonna fucking shot put my whole life savings right into Pyre Phantom. And I'm gonna let Fexer metertrage all over my fucking face so he can repeg to him, right? And it's gonna play out just like that. Does that make sense? Yeah. Again, yeah, Alessio, what might they see? Yeah, like the possibilities are endless. But Alessio, I'll tell you this. You know what Naldo sees? He's like, this is a project with actual vision. This is a project with long-term vision. This is a project that's not a fucking pump and dump. This is a project that like is actually trying to like empower the users to do things they can't do elsewhere. Does that make sense? So our first Twitter ambassador, by the way, we have other Twitter ambassadors that are waiting for me to check their quizzes right now. So yeah, we will be announcing more Twitter ambassadors this week, I think, if they passed. Yeah, not UFC fighters. Well, maybe, but other Twitter ambassadors are being announced this week. Yeah, the Ferrari Alessio, for sure. Anyways, yeah, everybody can see stuff in this project. There's so much about this project. Yeah, like what do you see about it, Alessio? Yeah, what do you see about it? Yeah, what are they gonna see about it? I think that what you see in it might be what they see in it. Yeah, what I see in it, again, endogenous money system. Yeah. Number go up. Maybe. Is that it? Yeah. What do I see? Okay. I think what this really allows people to see is that there is a fucking potential to this technology. That's really what I look at. The point of smart chains, is dApps. I want you to understand something. Why do we have smart contracts? What was the point of building Ethereum? Because it was all just Bitcoin before. It was Bitcoin, Litecoin, some of these other, I think Monero or whatever, and then Ethereum showed up 2014, right? Why? What the fuck was the point? Yeah. Yeah, smart contracts, yeah. Smart contracts, what's the point of it? Believe it or not, this is the mega dApp, right? We use the term mega dApp. So we are in fact trying to show like just how smart contracts can be used sustainably in ways that benefit the actual users. Not like, oh hey, we built an arbitrage bot, or oh hey, we built a fucking meme coin that rug pulls itself. No, that's not really anything that like, there's supposed to be a potential in Web3. Do you guys know what I mean? Thank you, Rolf. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yeah, and then Tendai, yeah, like we're only, by the way, we already posted our first little test short form. We already posted it. It got like 2,000 impressions. I don't know if that's good or bad, but we at least have left the garage. We have at least taken the first step out of our AGA. So that happened yesterday, to be clear. So I know it's not impressive, but it was literally a very underwhelming piece of content. We just wanted to post something. So we literally can say that we fucking moved the needle, right? I'm trying to make 3 or 4 happen today as well. Yeah. I don't disagree with that, yeah. Yep, exactly. Like make DeFi, make GameFi. DeFi and GameFi can work in our favor, for sure. Yeah, and again, we're only gonna onboard more Twitter ambassadors. I have 800 YouTubers I haven't emailed yet. 800 YouTubers. It's like 860, it's like 870. We have 870 YouTubers. I have not emailed them yet because I am focused all on getting our TikTok short form fucking shorts beginning to actually happen, and we can schedule them in advance for like 60 days. I want like 60 days of scheduled TikToks that are just dripping and dropping and posting, because they bring people through our link tree, which then brings them to our Discord. And when new people come into our Discord, Alessio, I have good news. You're gonna be able to tell them what you see in the project. Yeah, there's gonna be strangers coming to this Discord. They might show up 1,000 in a single day, and they're like, where the fuck am I? And you're like, oh, this is the world's first decentralized credit union. But I am, I feel sad because I saw Bitcoin pump and it didn't happen in my bag. I'm kidding. Yeah, there you go. Don't worry, Jeff will handle that. Yeah, Jeff's gonna be on top of it. So yeah, Alessio, I encourage you to stop writing. Be slightly more. Believe in yourself as a decision maker. Believe in yourself that when you pick this project, you are making the right decision. Believe in the sign that I don't turn off when the show is over. Mr. Producer, do we turn the don't quit sign on? Does this sign ever get turned off? No. He said no. Okay. The sign is always on. Whether we're on the show or not, we don't quit the project here. Yeah. The good news is the tokenomics already make it so the project can't die. Okay? So like it's like you're rolling the dice and you can't really lose. Do you get what I mean? It's like if you had an infinite amount of faucets at a casino, you'll eventually hit the jackpot. Do you guys know what I mean? Like imagine if you're at a casino, but you always have the ability to get like $1 more, right? If you run out of money, you'll eventually fucking get the jackpot. You know what, Rolf? Bet, yeah. This is true. And, Alessio, that is just the obstacles. Yeah, so, you're never gonna have like a perfect runway. You always have to think about like what we're gonna be strong, where we're gonna be weak. What's gonna work against us, what's gonna work for us. It requires you to be versatile, but I want you to know that we haven't really been we haven't been explosively generating new awareness for the last few months because I'm trying to solve that problem once and for all, not just like throw money at YouTubers and they may or may not understand the project. Does that make sense? We already spent money on YouTubers, but like a few of them understood the project better than others. Does that make sense? And the YouTubers being able to understand the project is clearly critical to it mattering, right? And I'm not trying to besmirch or disparage or complain about anything, but I had to first get better. Yeah, I had to first get better at talking about the project so I could talk to YouTubers about it so they could be, does that make sense? Like this was all like a marketing lesson for me. 2024 has kind of been all about marketing, but my attitude towards it during pre-Genesis, I was like, okay, let me just throw some fucking token at a few YouTubers and just like wait for the money to roll in. And that was a lazy and casual attitude. So I had to dig in my heels and get serious about like fighting marketing like it's a fucking war. All of the top 100 projects, all of them, they're always marketing. They never stop marketing. So I'm trying to take that same approach. When we begin our marketing machine, I never want to turn it off. I want it so that we always have like new awareness getting generated all the time. Leveraging small points. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yeah, so it shows us like in the, like what is it, top 10 here? Let me see what Electronics is posting. Yeah. Yeah, so again, Electronic, we're an underdog, but that doesn't mean we're, do you remember the thing about invest in the trend, not the fad? Do you guys remember that? Trends make money, not fads. Okay, Murad Mamadov, or whatever that meme guy is, the same thing that's happening to a lot of meme coins is going to happen. The same thing that happened to NFTs post 2021. I don't want to sound like a prophet. I don't want to sound like I'm fudding, but a lot of meme coins are going to go the same way that NFT projects went. Yeah, and that's fucking crazy because there are going to be people who they just open up their heart to that message because it's so pure and galvanizing and it just feels so good that they're going to put their life savings in some fucking garbage. And if I'm motivated by anything, it's that I need to save them from this type of false profit. And I don't want to fucking, I'm not even trying to like have a beef with Murad. I'm not famous enough at this point yet. But when we repeg, we will. Yeah, when I repeg, I will. Yeah. As soon as I repeg, the next thing I'll do is like, hey guys, I want you to know that the next 1,000 people who commit suicide from crypto are going to be because they listen to Murad. Yeah, I'll start saying shit like that on Twitter. I'm kidding. But maybe I'm not kidding because I really do mean that. I'll find a better way to say it. I'll find a more digestible way to imply that. Yeah, I do care about that. If you guys don't know how my dad died from committing suicide from investor depression. Yeah. Like and Rolf, that's also what motivates me because I'm actually filled with rage at some of this stuff. Yeah, like this is actually like a world-changing technology and we use it to like reinvent scams. And this is just, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, there's medicines out there that can be life-saving, but people use them to get high. Do you guys know what I mean? Yeah, it is like a Rage Against the Machine. Oh, hey, Yeti, what's up? Haven't seen you in a few months. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, don't waste your time feeling bearish with this project. Like, I'll get shot multiple times before we fucking fail. Does that make sense? If I get shot in the spine and I have to be in a wheelchair, we're still gonna make it. If I get shot in the eye and I have to be blind, we're still gonna make it. If I have to get my hands cut off, we're still gonna fucking make it. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, Superman in the wheelchair. There you go. Yeah, for sure. Whatever. Yeah, all I gotta do is not get shot in the head. I want you guys to know something. I could still die though, and as long as somebody fucking figures out how to get more user base, your bags will be fine, at least in the short term. Yeah, like I think enough of the blueprints are out there where you could at least finish phase 1, and maybe we wouldn't get all the way to phase 5. Rolf, that's a bit, maybe a bit too high. Yeah, maybe I'm aiming too high there. But But yeah, if I got shot in the head and like was dead, like if you guys take up the banner of finding the user base, you can still solve the fucking problem. And the whole reason about the user base is we're trying to saturate the fucking project. We want to saturate it. And not all of these people are going to be IWV players. Not all of them are going to be Metatroggers. Not all of them are going to be in Tomb Force, right? People are going to spread out to where they like, and that's okay. We want people to spread out. But the only way to get everybody in the right proportions is by saturating the fucking project with users. And in order to do that, we have to add a whole new dimension, which creates an exponent to our marketing. We don't have AGAs yet. We have one post so far, and that was like a test. Yeah. Javery, I would love that. Yeah, Nixon, that's great. Yeah, Javery, like no joke, I would love to be a brain in a jar. Yeah, one day, if it's possible, and I can just be immortalized as a head in a jar, I would do it. Yeah, like in a heartbeat, like I don't gotta do anything other than just like think and speak. Yeah, like I know that sounds crazy, but like that would be easier. Yeah, that would be easy. I'm kidding, but anyways, yeah. Have I been transparent? We should call it Transparent Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah, do you guys have any pressing concerns about anything you think I might be hiding or dodging? Again, most of the allegations brought against me, they didn't even have anything to do with PYRESWAP. They were like related to other tangential things, most of which like we hadn't discussed in depth since 2023. So like I was trying to help him make extra money in 2023, and like it didn't work out, and then now he's flipping his shit about that a year later. He didn't lose any money. Like nothing bad happened to him at all. Oh, Jeff, well, I appreciate you letting me know in advance. Yeah. And by the way, guys, that's phase 7 of PYRESWAP. We will be cryogenically freezing our user base, and yes, you will in fact be able to use your tokens to rent your cryogenic freezing bed for centuries at a time. I'm joking. Holy shit, I'm joking. We're not doing that. If you want to do that on your own, you can. I'm not doing that. Yeah, I'm just making jokes about the whole phases. Yeah. We're talking about real world assets. We're talking about Web3 cryogenics. Anyways, I think that the way this might happen is that you guys are gonna go about your day to day. You're not gonna see where I'm working and what I'm working on, but then all of a sudden, you're just gonna see a whole bunch of activity pick up out of nowhere. You're not gonna know why, but then we'll just have that snowball. Like, I really think it'll be like that. It'll be like a night and day. It might happen this fucking week, but like, I think that's the way things change in crypto sometimes. And like I'm not taking days off right now. We already have holidays in November, so I already recognize that I might as well work weekends on this and just like, get those days in advance. Yeah, we still have like 65 days or something like that until Genesis ends. Again, 30 days of consistent AGAs could 100x us. Does that make sense? And we still don't even need to hit those 30 days before Genesis. But I'm trying to say that yesterday we already got our day 1 out of the way. I don't know if we're going to have day 2 happen copacetically, but we're going to have this fucking thing out of the garage real soon. We're going to have it firing on all cylinders before the end of the week, ideally, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, Yeti, yeah, you've definitely taken a long vacation from Discord. Yeah, you popped in a couple times. But yeah, by the way, guys, I'm also getting DMs from people I haven't heard from in months. So like, they're like, hey, what's going on? So a whole bunch of people are now coming back to Discord because Bitcoin hit 89,000 or whatever. Do you guys know what I mean? So yeah, like again, I have 5 people who DM'd me, haven't heard from them since like 2023. A few people have not heard from them in 2023. They're now talking in the big top in the circus. They're talking, they're in my DMs like, oh shit, where did you come from? Yep. Bitcoin breaks all-time high. Suddenly people come back to Discord. Be bullish about it. Be bullish. Yeah. By the way, there was guys in here just last week. We didn't do any marketing for them. They found the project on their own, and they were still like, hey, can somebody teach me the IWV? So again, we still have like a non-zero trickle of new user base, right? It might not seem like it's that exhilarating, but like we're gonna keep drilling at the dike until the whole wall caves in and we're flooded. with new users. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like right now we only have a crack in the wall, right? But it'll be a wave, okay? But yeah, like, oh, that might be Roll Sky. That might be Roll Sky, yeah. What a great question. I am not opposed to it, and arguably, I would say, this is a good question, so I'll answer it. When we have Pyre Phantom above like 0.80 or even like 2 ohm, yeah. Okay, so I talked to the Beefy Finance guys. I did talk to them, and like all they wanted to do was to have me, So the Beefy Finance guys wanted me to fly out to Bangkok to go to a fucking after party at a conference in Bangkok. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a good use of my time, but I appreciate it. But like, I don't know, so I know that a few people were, like, are we gonna be on Beefy? And like, what they wanted me to do apparently is, I didn't go because I'm like, that's not gonna, this is not a big enough win for us. Anyways, Pyre Phantom being above 0.80 or 2 ohm. We'll just look at these two tokens. Being above 0.80. Now that we have terminal utility, and now that we have these 0.80 thresholds, first we have to get into this range. Does that make sense? First of all, talking about being listed on a centralized exchange. Before that, we definitely have to be above this range. And what you'll also see before we pursue that, or before we get invited to it, by the way, centralized exchanges also don't need your permission. They can just like go ahead and do it if they like your fucking token, right? The point being is, Pyre Phantom might be a great token for centralized exchanges. Do you know why? Because it's one of those tokens that you can basically assume it'll always kind of track what Phantom is doing. Does that make sense? Once we get to that range, right? Right now you can't see this at all. It was easier to see, pre-Genesis. But like, when we get into that range, and by the way, I've gotten the system behavior right, at least as far as my 2022 designs go. So, right, so everything in the system behaves the way it was designed to behave. Once we get in that range, these might be very popular coins among centralized exchanges to the point where I don't even need. Right, exactly. And hilariously, it might be popular on that centralized exchange just because it's an easier token to trade than even Phantom, right? Because Phantom, you have no idea where it'll go, right? Whereas Pyre Phantom, oh, sorry, am I muted? Okay. Check. What about now? What about now? Check. Okay, I will, okay, I'm gonna, sound is back? Okay, sound is back, okay. Yeah, so, again, all right, thank you. I don't know what that was. When we get into this range, they might be very popular tokens on centralized exchanges because you'll always be able to figure out that there'll be strong resistance at peg and then fucking strong support at 0.8. So these tokens might be amazingly popular on centralized exchanges for that reason. Does that make sense to you guys? Right? Because like, oh shit, if I know it's always gonna kind of like stay in this range, it's a great token for fucking crypto winner, like I said 1,000 times. Anyways, I think I now have to let these maintenance guys fix my ceiling. So I am going to end the PYRESWAP show now. We did about an hour. By the way, I think today was a great show. I'm glad you guys continue to scrutinize me. I'm always open to scrutiny, and I hope this show is beneficial to you. We'll be back tomorrow at the time in the Discord. Have a great rest of your day. See you.